Hello, good human you. I am Dr. Marie Murphy, and I'm a non-judgmental infidelity coach. If you are cheating on your partner or having an affair or engaging in anything you think counts as infidelity, I can help you deal with your feelings, clarify what you want, and make decisions about what you're going to do. No shame, no blame, no judgments. If you are ready to resolve your infidelity situation in a way that's truly right for you, I can help you do it. To learn about how you can have me as your coach, go to my website, mariemurphyphd.com. Okay, today we are going to talk about clarifying what you want out of your love life slash sex life slash romantic life slash relationship life. This is an important thing to do for a lot of reasons, and one of them is this. Sometimes when we get all tangled up in an infidelity situation and we're dealing with super intense emotions, and we think the stakes of our situation are impossibly high, and we think we're going to die if we don't get our desired outcome, we kind of lose sight of what we truly want in a partner or in a relationship. If we ever truly knew what we wanted in a partner or in a relationship in the first place. So, for example, sometimes people who are married and are having an affair want to decide whether they want to stay with their spouse, break up with their affair partner, or break up with their affair partner, or break up with their spouse and pursue an above board relationship with their affair partner. And of course, this is a reasonable decision to want to make. But sometimes when folks are trying to make this decision or similar decisions, they get hyper focused on the features of each person or each relationship and trying to figure out whether they like one relationship or one person versus the other. And although it's fair to consider those things, when we get overly focused on one person versus another or one relationship versus another, we may be missing the forest for the trees. We may be failing to ask ourselves some very important questions. And that question, broadly speaking, or actually we can separate this into multiple questions, is what do you really want in your love life? What do you really want in your sex life? What do you really want in your romantic life? What do you really want in your relationship life? And then, given your answers to those questions, how do you see the choice between your spouse and your affair partner? And how do you see your other options? It's possible that you could have your ideal relationship or relationships, plural, and that if you did, you wouldn't want to be with your spouse or your affair partner. Does that make sense? So even if that's not exactly your situation, even if you're not trying to choose between your spouse and your affair partner, maybe you're making some other kind of decision. If you zoom out a little bit and think about what you want in a broader sense, you might realize that you don't want any of the options you've been considering. You might want something else entirely. Sometimes we get married or we get involved in a relationship that's committed without having the faintest idea what we want out of our love life slash sex life slash romantic life slash relationship life. Sometimes we get married without being particularly sure that we want to marry the person we're marrying. Sometimes we get married without being sure that we want to be married at all. Sometimes we're just basically shooting from the hip. Sometimes when we get married, we think it's just the next thing we're supposed to do in life, and we want to do the next thing we're supposed to do in life. In other words, sometimes we get married without really knowing what the hell we're doing. And sometimes that works out okay. Sometimes shooting from the hip works out fine or better than fine. But sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes people get married and then start to realize that they aren't that thrilled about their spouse or their relationship with their spouse, or they aren't really all that thrilled with being married in general. But they may feel very invested in the choice they made. They may feel invested in maintaining the veneer of everything's going fine in my life. They may feel invested in the life they've created with their spouse. So they just put their head down and do the best they can to keep that life going. And sometimes this works out okay or okay enough for quite a while, until maybe one day this person who's just been getting through life meets someone new and amazing. And then they begin a relationship with this new and amazing person. And then they find out that they're officially having an affair. And this new relationship is so different from their marriage. And this new person who they're having an affair with is so different from their spouse. The person starts to think, wow, this is so much better. I like this person so much better than my spouse. I like this relationship so much better than my marriage. So therefore, I must want this. Now, here's where things get a little nuanced and maybe even a little tricky. For some people, it really is as simple as, I've found this new thing and I like it better than the old thing. I want to pursue this, so I'm going to pursue this. And then sometimes people do, and it works out just great. This does happen. This can happen. Leaving a marriage may be a serious thing, but it doesn't necessarily have to be a complicated thing. However, sometimes just saying, I like this new thing better than the old thing, so I'm going to leave the old thing and pursue the new thing, doesn't work out great. And one of the reasons why this doesn't always work out great is because sometimes people are making decisions about pursuing a relationship with their affair partner that are not based on a clear understanding of what they want out of their love life, sex life, romantic life, relationship life, right? Rather, they're just saying, hey, I like this new thing better than the old thing, so let's go. I'm going to trade in the old one for the new one, and of course, that will make me happy. Instead of relying on that logic, which may be a little shaky, I want to encourage you to do something different. I want you to step back from saying new thing good, old thing bad. I want you to step back from comparing your spouse to your affair partner. I want you to even step back from the specifics of your unique infidelity situation. And I want you to ask yourself some more general questions instead. Here are the questions I would like for you to consider. What do you want your sex life to be like? Get as specific as you can. Any and all answers are acceptable, including the answer that you don't want to have a sex life at all. Or maybe you want to have sex with anyone you want, anytime you want, pretty much anywhere you want. All answers are acceptable. I just want you to think very broadly and very honestly about what kind of experiences you would like to have if you could have whatever sensual, sexual, erotic experiences that you would like. Dare to ask yourself what you want and dare to acknowledge your own desires, independent of any particular people you happen to be involved with right now. Sometimes people get stuck on like, oh, well, you know, I'd really like this, but this person I'm involved with would never be up for that. Put that aside for now. Don't think about them. Think about you. You can always worry about how you're going to negotiate this with humans that you're involved with later. Okay, second question. What do you want your romantic life to be like? This is an interesting question because in order to answer it, you may need to define what romance means for you. What does romance mean? People have a lot of different ideas about this, and that's fine. People also have different ideas about how they want to experience romance, and that's fine too. But since there is so much variation in how we may define romance or how we may want to experience romance, it's extra important for you to get clear on what romance means to you and how you want to experience it, whatever you think it is. Now I want you to ask yourself, what do you want your love life to be like? Now, as you're starting to see, I'm asking you to parse out things that a lot of people tend to lump together. We often, not always, but often, think that love and sex and romance and relationships go together. And they certainly can go together, but they don't have to. So right now, I am interested in getting you to think about how you want to experience the kind of love that you want to experience in your life. And maybe that love goes along with romance for you. Maybe it goes along with sex and romance for you, but it doesn't have to. I want you to consider that love and sex and romance don't have to be tied together in any particular way for you. So maybe you start to think about this and you start to realize that maybe you don't want to experience sex and love with the same person or with the same people. Maybe you do, but maybe you don't. Maybe you want to have sex that isn't tied to love or isn't associated with love. Maybe you want to experience romance and love, but without any sex involved. Or maybe you want sex and love without romance. What might that look like for you? Or maybe you want sex and love and romance to go together forever and ever and ever. Any answers to these questions that you love, I love for you. The point of asking yourself these questions is to get really clear on your preferences and your desires. That's it. There aren't any correct answers here. Then, to complete this set of questions, I want you to think about what you want your relationship life to look like. For instance, do you want to have a partner? Do you want to have partners, plural? If you do want a partner or partners, what do you want your relationship with your partner or relationships with your partners to be like? Right? There are so many options here. What sounds good to you? And of course, if you don't like the idea of having a partner or partners, that's fine. Then the question is, how do you want to engage with people if you're not having a partnership type relationship? What are the options that you deem interesting, right? You don't have to want anything in particular here. There are so many different ways that we can do our relationship lives. The problem that I see pretty regularly is that folks get into committed relationships without having thought these things through. They aren't clear on whether or not they want to be in a committed relationship at all. And they aren't clear what they want that relationship to look like, even if they do know that they want a committed relationship. And when we get involved with other people without being clear on what we want and what our intentions are, what our priorities are, things in the relationship can become rather unpleasant for everyone involved. If you cannot come up with anything resembling a definitive answer to any of the questions I just asked you, what do you want out of your love life? What do you want out of your sex life? What do you want out of your relationship life? What do you want out of your romantic life? Then here's the deal. If you can't answer those questions at all, I encourage you to focus on answering those questions rather than attempting to figure out what you want to do about the specifics of your infidelity situation. As you think through what you want to do about your infidelity situation, you do not want to mistake the trees for the forest. And thinking broadly about what you want, instead of getting hyper-focused on the specific people you are involved with, will help you do this. So if you are married and having an affair, the question isn't necessarily which of these two people do I want to be involved with. The question instead may be, how can I move towards having the kind of love life / sex life / romantic life / relationship life that I truly want to live? And it's possible that your path forward will involve your spouse or your affair partner, or maybe both, but it's also possible that it won't involve either of them. Finally, it's worth noting that knowing what we want helps us appreciate what we have. So even if you answer the questions that I just posed to you and you find that you basically reaffirmed things that you have always suspected to yourself, that's a great outcome. If you are sure of what you want, you can confidently pursue it and you can appreciate it more when you have it. All right. If you are in the midst of a challenging infidelity situation and you want non-judgmental, pragmatic assistance in dealing with your situation, let's work together. There are two ways you can have me as your non-judgmental infidelity coach. One, you can enroll in my self-guided online course. You're not the only one. This course gives you the tools and guidance that will empower you to deal with your infidelity situation in a way that's truly right for you. Two, we can work together one-on-one via Zoom. When we work together one-on-one, you get all of my radical compassion and my no-nonsense tough love. To enroll in my course or to sign up for an introductory coaching session with me, go to my website, mariemurphyphd.com. Can't wait to meet you. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Until next time, bye for now.